The crucible of suffering didn't break Temüjin. It forged him into steel. He learned a harsh lesson. In this world, loyalty was a treasure more precious than gold, and betrayal was the air everyone breathed. Temüjin, now a young man with eyes that held the coldness of the steppe, began to attract a following. They weren't powerful warriors or nobles. They were the dispossessed, the outcasts, the broken families, people just like him. He drew in shepherds whose flocks had been stolen, hunters who had lost their tribes, and warriors who had been betrayed by their lords. To these forgotten souls, he offered something revolutionary, not just protection, but belonging. He didn't see them as servants. He saw them as brothers, as Noka. He judged men not by the name of their father, but by the fire in their heart and the loyalty in their actions. This band of outcasts became the seed of an empire, a family bound not by blood, but by shared hardship and a fierce devotion to their leader. As Temüjin's power grew, so did the unease among the established Mongol aristocracy. His rise challenged a system that had existed for centuries, a world ruled by a closed circle of noble bloodlines. Temüjin envisioned something different, a system where a man's worth was measured by his skill and his courage, not his lineage. This radical idea culminated in the Kurultai, the great Mongol assembly. Traditionally, these gatherings were a formality, where the great clans simply affirmed their power. But Temüjin's Kurultais were different. They were vibrant, chaotic, and democratic. Here, every warrior, regardless of his birth, had a voice. Decisions were made not by a single aristocrat, but by the collective will of the people, who would raise their spears and roar their approval. It was a political revolution disguised as a tribal gathering. He was dismantling the old world one vote at a time, creating a new kind of power, one based on the consent and loyalty of his followers. But this new world could not be born without conflict. Temüjin's greatest rival was a man who was once his closest friend, his sworn brother, his anda, Jamukha. Jamukha was a charismatic leader, but he was also a staunch defender of the old aristocratic order. He believed in the sanctity of noble blood and saw Temüjin's merit-based system as an existential threat. The bond of brotherhood frayed, then shattered, turning into a bitter and personal rivalry that would engulf the Mongol steppe in civil war. Jamukha rallied the noble clans who feared losing their privileged status, while Temüjin led his army of commoners and outcasts. This wasn't just a war for territory, it was a war for the very soul of the Mongol people. Would they remain a fractured land of feuding blue-blooded aristocrats, or unite under a new banner where merit, not birth, was the path to greatness? The steppe became a chessboard for these two titans, and every battle was a move toward a bloody checkmate. The first to fall were the Tayichiud, the very clan that had abandoned Temüjin as a child. He hunted them down with relentless fury, not just for revenge, but to send a message: no one was beyond his reach. The Tayichiud leaders were executed, but their common people were absorbed into his growing army, a practice unheard of at the time. He destroyed the clan, but saved the people. Next came the Merkits, the tribe that had stolen his wife, Bort, in a daring raid. Temüjin's rescue of Bort became a legend, a testament to his personal resolve. He smashed the Merkits, scattering them to the winds. Then, he turned his sights on the Tatars, the murderers of his father. The war against them was one of brutal extermination. After a decisive victory, Temüjin ordered the execution of every Tatar male taller than a cart's axle, a chilling act of vengeance that effectively erased the tribe from existence and settled a lifelong blood debt. With the central steppe now under his control, only one major power remained to challenge him: the Naimans, a powerful and sophisticated tribe to the west. Their leader, Genghis Khan, looked down on Temüjin as an upstart barbarian. He gathered a massive coalition, confident he could crush this former outcast once and for all. The two armies met in the foothills of the Altai Mountains. The Naiman forces were vast, but they were a fragile coalition of self-interested nobles. Temüjin's army, though smaller, was a disciplined, unified fighting machine, loyal to one man and one vision. Temüjin employed brilliant tactics, using feigned retreats and flanking maneuvers to sow chaos and panic among the Naiman ranks. By nightfall, The mighty Naiman army had dissolved. Tayichiud Khan was killed, and his forces were either destroyed or absorbed. The final obstacle to Mongol unity had been shattered. Jamukha himself, now a fugitive, was eventually captured and delivered to Temüjin by his own men. In a final, tragic meeting, Temüjin offered his old friend mercy, but Jamukha, ever the aristocrat, requested a noble death, one without the shedding of blood. His back was broken, a somber end to their epic rivalry. The year is 1206. The Mongol steppe, for centuries a land of endless war and division, is finally silent. At the headwaters of the Onan River, a great Kurultai is called. All the tribes, all the peoples of the grasslands, are gathered. They are no longer Tayichiud, Merkit, or Naiman. They are one people. Here, beneath the vast blue sky, they bestow upon Temüjin a new title, one that would echo through eternity. Genghis Khan, the oceanic ruler, the Khan of all who live in felt tents. This was more than a coronation. It was the birth of a nation. The boy who survived on roots and mice had become the ruler of the world's largest land empire. He gave his people a written language, a unified legal code, the yasa, and a purpose. He had not just conquered the steppe, he had created the Mongol nation from the ashes of 1,000 feuds. The orphan boy had become the father of a people, and his gaze now turned outward, toward the empires of the south and west. The story of Temüjin was over. The legend of Genghis Khan had just begun. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past as captivating as we did, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow for more epic stories from history. Stay tuned for part 3.